Teen Titans Academy issue 2, Tim Sheridan writing with Rafa Sandoval on the art.
Speaking of not good, I couldn't help it.
Is this where my streak ends? Where my
I'll tell you, this is where my streak ends, because look, it's not terrible. However, it's not a. The tone is just weird for me. It definitely, you know how we used to say that Lemire wanted to do a Fantastic Four book so much that it led him to do the Terrifics?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like Sheridan wants to do an X-Men book so much that it's leading him to do the Titans Academy.
Which I think is perfectly fine as a concept. I was a bit more positive on the first issue than you were.
Yes.
I definitely like this issue less. I definitely found some. I mean, I like some of the ideas and some of the stuff that it's trying to do, but there's prominent moments in this book that I didn't like, including the ending cliffhanger, which is amusing to me because it's the second book in a few months that's going, hey, you're kind of liking this book? Oh, here's Suicide Squad to like invade the whole story at the end.
What? You want something that's going to kill you liking something? Here's Suicide Squad. Not by James Gunn.
Or Tom Taylor.
Or Tom Taylor. Hey, so that book doesn't even resonate to me as a Suicide Squad book, though, because it's such its own thing. You know what I mean?
It is, but yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
It's called Suicide Squad, so...
Yeah, so there are characters in here I really like. I love Sheridan's take on Cyborg. I feel his Cyborg feels...
Honestly, like, I actually think, for the most part, I mean, I like Cyborg cracking the joke with Beast Boy that him between the legs, because it doesn't matter what shape he takes, that always works. That's kind of funny.
I like that.
But I actually think, for the most part, the new characters that he's trying to build up are actually working for me better in a way, because it's like, okay, they're completely blank slates. You're giving me this idea that Stitch, who's like the ragdoll looking one, doesn't want to be roommates with the other dude, so he's paying the other guy off in another room to try and swap with him because he hates rooming with him. Like,
they're swapping. The other guy doesn't want to go with what's his name? The one here, is it Roundhouse?
Roundhouse, yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't want to room with Roundhouse. He doesn't like him, and so they're trying to swap around. And I like all that. And this mysterious Matt character, who they compared to Connor Kent, which I thought was hilarious. I like his whole vibe and how he does chess to sharpen his mind. And it seems a very villainous thing, but again, that feels like a red herring, right?
It's a red herring. I think we're obviously maybe thinking maybe he's Red X, but he's probably not.
And then this character of Bolt, she can tap into the Speed Force, but she's, she has those prosthetic legs.
Yeah, the spikes or needles, whatever they're called.
They're the blades.
Blades, that's it. No, I think the new characters, it's not a whole run by any means, but because they're completely fresh and we can build them up, it's like, oh, this is the team of young X-Men, adjacent that we can kind of get into. The fact that the story's even called X Factor, which is just kind of almost all on the nose given everything, because we got a villain called Red X. But the Suicide Squad stuff at the end, to show up to save Bolt from Red X, that was just kind of like, I rolled my eyes, like, really, we're invading this book with Suicide Squad? Because I think Man-Bat I was enjoying more before the Suicide Squad showed up. I think this is a case where I was still having a lot of problems, but I was liking some stuff, and then it was like, oh, Suicide, so really, we're going to invade the book with more characters? This is not what we need right now. And honestly, everything with Dick in this issue and Corey, I felt it was just muddying the waters for no reason, because before this issue, has there been any indication in ages that Dick and Corey have been an item?
Outside of them having like a mutual respect, like love with each other, like, that's my ex, I'll always have feelings for him, but they're my friend now. Because
I turned the page in this, and she's getting dressed in bed as he's looking out the window as if they've spent the night together, and then immediately within like 2 panels he's like, I need to spend more time in, like, Bloodhaven and Gotham, and she's like, oh, with Barbara? And I'm like, what? We're doing jealousy,
so
love triangle shit?
In the last 6 months, Dick and Babs got married at the end of the world.
Yes.
Okay? That should have ended any Starfire, Dick Grayson stuff whatsoever, because while they're not technically married, that was Snyder and Tynan and Williamson. I forget who else wrote on that book.
Yeah.
That was them laying the foundations of this is Dick and Babs now are fully intertwined, just like Lois and Clark.
And things, right? Don't get me wrong, things, if you tell a story where for some reason they decide otherwise, whatever, but that was so recent, and there's been nothing to suggest there's been any change of heart. This, to me, feels like the writer of this book, Sheridan, just doing this because he wants to, and it doesn't actually fit with anything else the characters have been through recently at all.
Yeah. So, like, and this is going to sound mean, this feels kind of like fan fiction, right?
A little bit. Yeah.
Like, he's getting to write, because I can tell that Sheridan loves that era of Teen Titans, and maybe even the cartoon, you know, where Teen Titans Go. We talked about this last time. And you just get the vibe that those are the versions he wants to go through. But because of what is happening in Gotham with Babs becoming Oracle and her having a relationship with Dick, and I don't mean that as like a romantic relationship, but like she's a full-on secondary character, you know, almost co-headline of Nightwing through 2 issues.
It didn't need this. It feels like it's just adding it for the sake of like wanting to call back to more Titans history. Right,
exactly. And like there's other ways to do that. Like you can have them flirt up and down, but have them getting dressed from the morning and just like like you said, it's just there because it's part of Titans continuity. And that's the stuff I don't enjoy. Like even the Red X stuff feels so disjointed from the rest of the stuff here. And like Dick, like, oh, I'm just looking for my mask. Have you seen it?
Yeah. Also, I didn't like how he just walks into the computer room and Red X is just there. Like he just like stumbles into him around the building.
However, I did like the action sequence that came out of that when they were chasing him and he grabs the hose, John McClane style. You know, but because he's an acrobat, he manages to spin himself down enough that Donna's kind of looking at him like, oh, what's going on? So that's the X-Men-y kind of stuff that I do like.
I'll be honest, I feel like Dick shouldn't even be in this book because Nightwing's great. He's got so much going on with that stuff that he feels like he's only here because, he's a main Titan, right? He's part of that team. But honestly, the rest of the Titans need something to do. Dick doesn't.
Yeah, and I know he's like, they could easily make him Roy Harper in this. You know, he doesn't need to be Nightwing. You know, Mr. Roy.
Yeah, or maybe
Mr. Arsenal.
That could happen. You know? Maybe Roy, because we know Roy's around, so maybe he'll come in and swap out. But
but like he's an original Titan that kind of has vibes of Dick Grayson. But yeah, I just that kind of stuff. But then again, I like the stuff of Cyborg and him trying to mentor this Matt kid. You know, and he's playing chess with him in this whole vibey realm. And
technically it wasn't chess. It was like a weird version of chess for some of the
but I didn't remember the name. Yeah, it's like Chess Plus, you know.
Arima.
Yeah, there we go.
There you go.
You know, so he's playing that with them, and the Beast Boy stuff is there, and I like Bolt, and so there's stuff in here that I do like, and I'm gonna check out issue 3. Maybe it just depends on how Suicide Squad pulls in, because I know they're crossing over, and I don't want to have to read. I said that during solicits when they solicited the crossover.
Yeah.
You know? So. But
and that's true. The Suicide Squad thing is not necessarily a surprise because we did know there was going to be a crossover of sorts, but I actually impacting the book to the point where it's the whole cliffhanger for issue 2. This did kind of leave a bad taste, and it's a shame because I'm liking the idea of it. You know, try to explore all these new young characters and try to build them up as a team, and I love that stuff. I have to admit though, my desire to read the next issue kind of waned a little bit, and it's one of these things where, you know, last month it was like 1 of 4 books that week. This month it went up to 5 because obviously Robin came out, but Robin was so much better and just a home run in terms of just being a good first issue. And this is the sort of thing as well where if I wasn't getting a good Nightwing book, maybe I'd be more inclined to continue with this because Nightwing's here. But I've got a fantastic Nightwing book. I've got a Nightwing book that might be the best book DC are putting out right now. So my reasons for this are a little bit lessened, and I do like a lot of the other Titans characters, but it's just a little too rough around the edges and just a little overstuffed, and it really shouldn't be crossing over with another book already. That's the big downer. And then there's a tease of like Red X like working with someone to like try and blackmail Bolt. Which, you know, is kind of whatever. I think when I start glossing over story details like that, it kind of means I've checked out a little bit. and it probably means this is where I end my tenure on. I'm sorry.
I am relieved that you feel the same way, because like I know I tend to be a little bit overly critical and stuff like this. However, it is real rough times, and it's a bummer because I want to like this concept, but the story that they've telling out the gate isn't one that I'm enjoying.
I genuinely felt there was more potential in issue 1 than you seemed to when we talked about it, but the problems that were definitely still there seem to have just gotten a little bit worse in issue 2. And the Dick and Corey thing just feels so weird and just so against everything else that's going on with the character, which makes it easier to just go, okay, this is just... I'm not considering this canon now. All this is doing is infecting the good stuff that's going on in Nightwing, so I'm not even going to think about this. This is just out of my mind, out of sight.
Right, and like outside of in Robin, that Dick talking about he's calling from Titan's Tower. Like I feel like Nightwing's in its own little corner right now, and as it should be. Just let Tom Taylor tell the story he wants to tell over there.
I would actually argue the opposite. I would say Nightwing's the one that feels connected to the rest of the Bat books, and the Titan stuff is the one that feels kind of on its own little... It's on its own little corner with Suicide Squad.
Yeah, I don't want Titans Academy infecting Nightwing. You know what I mean? Like that kind of thing. That's what I mean, that it's off in its corner.
I get that, but I think the Nightwing from Nightwing does feel like the Nightwing that's like popping up in Batman or popping up in the other Bat books. It feels like he belongs with the rest of the family, whereas this Titans version is the one that's kind of contradicting it a little bit.
Yeah.
And even the conversation he has is kind of acknowledging, it's really, there's so much to do in Bloodhaven and Gotham that this Academy stuff, I have to kind of divide my time more. And I'm like, it kind of feels like that as a reader. It feels like this is the afterthought for Dick as opposed to everything else. So
yeah, hard to argue with that one, but I'm just glad we have a really good Nightwing book again.
Yeah. So this, unfortunately, I mean, I'm not going to be super harsh. I'll probably give it like a 6, maybe? Like a 5.5? I'll go 5.5.
Okay, yeah, I had 5.5 in my head. And then when you said 6, I went, I did enjoy the art. I mean, the art's fine. We found this, that's Rafa Sandoval, right?
Yeah, he's not exceptional. Yeah. He's a solid kind of workhorse, yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty good. So, but yeah, 5.5 for me.